No, she didn't bring back coffee. Oh, she go back to the T-shirt. Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, that's cool. Oh, that's your one of your designs, Ursula.
Does it
Nice.
come on frontwards or backwards on the video?
That's right. That works.
It's
Looks.
not backwards?
No, it's not.
No, no.
Yeah, so that's the
Probably.
new t-shirt.
It's nice. Colorful.
Yeah. When the going gets tough, the tough make t-shirts. Take that, coronavirus. We're going to make a t-shirt.
When I lived in New Orleans, they have so many t-shirt shops there. I said if there was an atomic blast, they would have a t-shirt out about it immediately. Immediately.
That's so American.
Yeah.
Hey, William.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Got great health, can't complain.
Oh, good. Yeah. And Sandra and Sharon. Hi to you guys.
Sharon, before we start, I have a little piece of business I want to do with you.
Oh, okay.
You know, the group that's doing the COVID race and democracy shows, they want to continue doing one show a week. And what they want now, actually this is for all of you, they want pieces from, you know, your stations to kind of like stories of the week that they can add to the show. And they specifically this week asked for a story from Louisville. And they were wondering whether somebody at your station could produce something, or whether, if that wasn't feasible, whether you could give them, you know, a name for them to interview.
Sure. Yeah, definitely. It would be very easy to get someone to interview. In terms of creating a piece, do you have any guidelines or of what they're looking for?
She's going to send them to me. It's 4 to 7 minutes.
Okay. I've already talked to a couple DJs about doing that because you mentioned it for the Pacific venues, and I definitely have some people that are interested, but they haven't moved on it yet. So maybe if I have some guidelines.
Yeah, well, they want something for Monday's show. So
Okay.
if it, you know, if I don't know if you can do it that fast, I'll send you the guideline as soon as I get it.
Okay.
But if it turns out it's too fast of a turnaround, then if you can just give them, if you can help set up an interview.
Yeah,
I
that's
think
easy.
it'd be better if you guys did your own, because I just would like to hear that. But if it's, you know, if it's too much.
Okay. Definitely count us in for the interview. I can definitely make that happen.
Okay.
I'll let you know on that.
Okay, so I'll write to you and with some more information. And that really goes for everybody here. They're looking for stories 4 to 7 minutes long from your area. You know, if you feel like you have a story that's, you know, is important. They may take, you know, for you, Sharon, they may go with next week if you want.
Okay.
It might work for you to do it next week for them, but they definitely they want something from Louisville.
Right. Yeah. A lot of crazy stuff happening still here.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, you're a story. Yeah.
Unfortunately, too, though, I mean, it's actually pretty amazing to see what, I mean,
Well, that's
yesterday
good.
there was a beautiful action, you know.
That's good.
So, trying to look for the positive.
Yeah.
Hopefully, it's all for the best in the long run.
Yeah, hopefully.
Hopefully.
It's a process.
Well, should we get started? Let's get started. So yeah, today we're going to talk about the GRC in Louisville with Sharon Scott and her gang over there. And she's looking for feedback to hear from everyone since it's going to be online, and you know, in order so we can make it a really good one. And we'll first start out with checking in with everybody, doing our 2-minute introductions. And I'll get my little thing here. I wrote a couple things down about Iowa. Our governor, what was it, 2 days ago, said she's more interested in targeting specific areas. She says targeting specific areas I don't know what that means exactly, but she said she's not going to shut the whole state down. So I'm guessing shutting down specific areas is what she was meaning. The Iowa Department of Public Health spokesperson resigned the other day because he allegedly was attempting to reveal too much information about the coronavirus to the media. So that's interesting.
Yeah.
And we're having this new campaign called Test Iowa, where you can go online and get tested. Sounds like some people are having trouble getting time slots, but it sounds like it is an attempt to reach out to people. So well, that's about it for Iowa. Oh, and I'm Stephanie, by the way, of course, with Pacifica. And in Ames, across town from Ursula. And that's about it for here. I'll pass it over to William today in Omaha. Is that right?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
How's everybody doing today? Again, William King on the, I guess I'm everything over here at the Boss. We've been operating for 5 years now. I've actually had a chance to meet Ursula, I think, at one of the GRC. I think I know in Iowa for sure. And I think I know I went to another one. So man, I'm looking forward to this year. Hopefully we can get it done. Just I get out of Nebraska. But right now, we are part of the community. We're on the front lines of making sure that people, stay aware of the quarantine here in Nebraska. Overall, we're doing pretty well as a state, even though our governor opened it up a while ago. But we've been playing consistent messaging every hour to make people aware, especially because it affects the African diaspora a little bit more because of health disparities. So I'm glad to be here. So far, so good. We're starting to tap into some Corona dollars, though. So we're connecting with local hospitals to advocate their Corona message. Also, the governor, the state of Nebraska, have did a buy with us. And so right now, we're really trying to target Corona dollars, or where they're going to, and it's responsibility of those agencies or those governmental bodies to make sure that they spend with local platforms to get information out to local people. The commercial stations don't have the flexibility that we have. They don't have the flexibility that we have, and that's one of the main things I've been really advocating, that we have created localism. We have the flexibility. We play local biz, local people music. We advocate local people news.
15 seconds.
As well as we advocate people businesses at an economical rate, and so we coined that localism so we can compete against the so-called Goliaths in the community.
Nice. Would you like to pass it on?
Oh yes, I'd like to pass it on to Miss Ursula, since she is a neighbor over in Iowa.
Absolutely. Well, I live in the same community that Stephanie does, and actually I learned something from you, Stephanie. I didn't know about that, and I'd like to follow up on it. Just
about the person getting fired?
Yeah. Just finished up an interview with the head of the school board here locally, and the schools are going to open. They think they can handle it. I don't think they can, but they think they can, and they're going to try. But it is an option for students to not go to school. Parents they are providing online learning so that students can stay home if they want. But for teachers, there's not an option for them to stay home. That has to do with the employment laws for teachers in Iowa that were set in by our wonderful Republican leaders here in the state. They basically destroyed all rights for teachers. So they, by law, have to show up or get fired. So we'll see what happens. Other than that, things are good. The station does okay. Great team here. Miss you, Stephanie. And at Pacifica, I'm just excited about, building this new platform, or not building it, but just instituting the paperwork and the processes that make us a unit. It's probably going to take a while. These things, there's always resistance and convolutions, but it is inevitable. So I'm excited about having that happen. And we've actually had an uptick in affiliates. People have contacted us and wanted to affiliate. Word got out. So I'm just very pleased, and I understand that these things, take time. So feeling okay, feeling better than last week. I am going to toss it to you, Elizabeth.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth. I'm the station manager at KPPQ, which is based in Ventura, California. And we're part of a community media center. So what we've been doing is covering lots of stuff for our partners, where the county and the city, and fire and health. And so we've been covering lots of their meetings in video. And so I've been converting them to audio programs and airing them that way. So that's sort of how I'm getting lots of information out there, and it's really helpful. We're also, city council's producing public service announcements for the census and health stuff and testing. And so they're doing huge outreach, so I get to benefit from all of that. So that's good. And then I guess half a dozen or so producers are have built home studios and are sending in programming. We're all automated, so I don't have anybody live in the studio, so I don't have to worry about that. So, and I have some producers who are producing stuff with social justice organizations and Black Lives Matter. So that's good, that's picking up. So I'm encouraging people to do that. So sort of what we're doing, and you know what's going on in California, because everybody does. So anyway, that's all. I'll go to Joseph.
Okay, from the other end. All right, sure. Well, up north here, we have nice warm conditions here, 103 today, 106 yesterday. Hopefully it's going to be 99, a cool upper 90s, as we call it. GRC. My first GRC was in NOAB. That's where I met Ursula. She just started at Pacifica then. And I had the intention of going there and finding out how to get Democracy Now! And that was one of my goals of going to that GRC. And we accomplished that, and we became the first radio station in Humboldt County to carry Democracy Now! So, one of our firsts. So nice. I'm very curious about this online GRC. As I mentioned, our travel budget isn't very high, and so I have to really pick and choose. Sometimes I don't go anywhere. So this online thing, I haven't, other than these kinds of Zoom calls, that's about all my experience. I haven't taken on any other conferences by online courses or conferences, courses, yeah. So I'm looking forward to the development of that, and in any way I can help out there, I'd be willing to do so. Except for the organizing, I just don't have that kind of much time. But the beginning of the fiscal year 21, I'm going to be shifting out of where I'm sitting right now and going to the other room where I'll be the lead producer. So I'll leave behind the managerial aspects to somebody else, but I'll be here to mentor that person to make the networking connection with Pacifica and NFCB and all the other native networks that are around. So I'm looking forward to that too, because I got some other ideas. So thank you very much, and I'll pass it on to who else is here? I'm going to click this button here. Sandra Forrest.
Hi everyone, great to be here again. I'm representing WBPU Black Power 96 in St. Pete, Florida, serving the Black community on the south side of St. Pete. And I don't know if I shared this last week because it just happened on Thursday, but one of the volunteers at the station did test positive and had been in contact with some of the others. So now the station is even more closed down than it had been. It had just been a core of people going in, and now it's nobody going in except for one person who needs to update Mega occasionally. And they all went to try to get tested and either couldn't get tests, had to wait 4 hours to get a test. So I think all but one, it was about 6 people that had been exposed to this person, and all but one has been able to get tested. That was almost a week ago. None have been able to get results yet. It's just in Florida, it's just ridiculous. You can't get tested. You can't get your test results. The governor is demanding that everyone go back to school, and it's a really crazy situation. So I'm looking forward to this station has not participated in the GRC in the past, and so looking forward to that. I shout out and thank you for the tutorials a couple weeks ago on Zencaster, because we did start using that, and it's so much better than recording over the phone. So we're really, really happy about that, and been using that. And also, I appreciate what I think it was William was saying out of Omaha about getting some underwriting money from the institutions. We have not pursued that. We have pursued and still pursuing some grant money related to COVID, but had not considered hitting up some of the bigger institutions for underwriting money. And so I'm going to pass that on to the underwriting person. So appreciate that as well. That's it for me.
Cool, thanks, Sandy. Davine. Davine.
Not much happening for us as far as situational changes at the station. The same with everyone else there, talking about reopening the schools mid-August, and I just think the whole United States is in a hot mess, and there's no real national leadership, and states are having to fend for themselves. So I don't know. The station is doing just fine, and we're looking forward to talking about GRC. So I'll pass it on to, has Sandra spoken? Sandra
Yeah,
Forrest?
She did. Yep. Maybe we got everybody. Let me double
Sharon, I'll pass it to Sharon.
Hi, thanks. Cool. Well, thank you, everybody. I'm excited to hear all your feedback about GRC. That truly is where I learned about the LPFM movement and the reason I have a station today. So excited to talk more about that and how we can continue it even though we're in the midst of this pandemic. I'm at WXOX in Louisville. We really had hoped to have everybody here. And it would be a very exciting time to have everyone here for the pandemic. We are in a full-on, I would almost at this point call it a civil war. We are, it is really intense here in Louisville. Every single day for, I think for close to 50 days now, there's been protesting, mostly peaceful, and when it's not, it's because of very militarized police situation here in Louisville. So exciting times. We're glad to be on the air, even though the station is closed to any visitors or any DJs. But we've got all of our DJs remote broadcasting from home, and that's been very interesting in these days. And then they've been able to take that a step further, and they've been able to broadcast from the middle of the protests and from the Breonna Taylor Square. And today we had some DJs that were out in LA, and they were able to bring their remote broadcasting out to LA and broadcast from there. So, we're doing okay, and we're doing some major renovations in the studio right now while everybody's away. So we're taking advantage of the downtime, but really missing seeing our DJs in person. Our governor's pretty good about keeping the COVID situation under control, but the Attorney General is fighting him every step of the way. Today, the school board will meet via Zoom to decide whether or not it's safe enough for the kids to go back to the classroom. So kind of in the same situation as the rest of you all, but we're just thankful to have our health. And yeah, and just looking forward to your input on the Grassroots Radio Conference, because I've never been to an online conference before. This has been a great thing, Stephanie and Ursula, just for kind of getting us all communicating online. And I guess the GRC would sort of just take that a little further. But interested to hear everybody's ideas. We're at the very ground level of planning this. The pandemic and the social revolution put us off track, but I think we can pull something together for this fall.
So you made a survey for everyone. Did everyone here get to take the survey? It's like most
Yep.
shaking heads. Yes. Okay.
Great.
Do you have a certain? You said you're just ground level, just so you're kind of wide open for any ideas.
And I kind of think that this session could be great for a brainstorm, and then if there's people who are interested in continuing to help us organize after this, we'll pull together another work group for that. But I guess maybe the first question is, has anybody been to an online conference before? Experienced that?
No,
Uh-oh.
I haven't. It's just me. I don't know if anyone else.
Not hearing a lot of folks. Well, one thing again, this is just kind of coming out of nowhere, but these Zoom meetings have been wonderful, and we've had some great sessions, some great training sessions. And so maybe this is just sort of a continuation, not necessarily continuation, but a parallel to what's going on here for potentially a wider audience. And then, it'd be very good to be able to archive any of the sessions. But for instance, I'd be glad to do another session on the remote broadcasting, which Sandra, I promise I'll connect with you this week. It's just been hanging. But I've heard from a few stations that are trying to pick that up now. So I could do another thing on that. Naveen could maybe do her, her Alexa skills application there. Anyway, we've had some great sessions here. So I think it could just be a matter of starting with some of the great sessions we've already had in this discussion, representing those, and then finding out from others, who else would want to present something online.
It is nice that the Zoom meetings can be automatically recorded, because some things at the GRC seem to get recorded and some don't. So that's really nice.
Yeah, and I love how you all have the archives as well, up on the Pacific site. That'd be something, wonderful to be able to get out of all this. So I guess for most people sound like they've been in a grassroots radio conference before. Has anybody not been to a GRC before?
I have not been, and I was also going to mention that I've been to some conferences where the originating presenters are on through Zoom, but then it also goes out to Facebook and YouTube, and so their YouTube records it as well, and can be very accessible. I think there's some kind of software like Restream. I mean, I could find out, but I've been to several where Zoom was the primary source because it's so easy for people to hook into and present. And also I've been to some where there was a lot more control. There's other features of Zoom that we don't use in this meeting where, only the presenter, you can really choose who appears on screen and all that.
Yeah, that's great. That would be great to get that. Yep, if you could let us know, Sandra, that'd be.
Yeah, definitely. We'll exchange information, Sharon. You tell me about remote broadcasting. I'll tell you about Zoom.
Okay.
I noticed Joseph mentioned too that asking if Zencastr would improve his connection to the Zoom calls because his Wi-Fi drops off sometimes. That's a
I was
little.
starting to type a response, but I don't think it integrates with Zoom. It's more of a web-based thing where you're recording interviews. And the great thing about it is that it records each side, the guest and the host, to the local computer. So even though you might have bad connection, the recording that you're getting of the interview is recorded to the local computer, then it's uploaded to Zencaster, and then you download it. So you don't get that internet interference during the phone call, but I don't think it would help with what you're asking about.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, one conference that I followed, they live streamed on Facebook. So they did Zoom for the guests and then live streamed on Facebook, and then people could ask questions. So that seemed to work for people.
That's nice.
Yeah, so that may be another option as well.
I wonder if that like saves on the bandwidth or whatever to keep the guests down and all that. And then
Which it does, because
yeah,
the connection for Facebook's pretty strong. So that may be a good way to go.
How long was that a conference, Elizabeth? You said.
Yeah, it was a podcasting conference. Yeah, it was a 2-day conference.
Well, I'm curious about the time frame. Like, how long did it run? How many hours?
Well, it was 2 days, and it was from 9 to 5, and they had sessions scheduled. So, and it was the same thing as the GRC. They were planning to do it somewhere,
Right.
and just moved it all online. And it was good because you didn't have to be there. Like Zoom, I think, is intimidating for people. So it was nice. You could just log in, look at Facebook, and leave and come back. And so that was kind of nice.
And was there just like one session per time slot, or did you have to choose? You know, because at GRC there's several, paths, and you have to choose which one.
No, it was one session. So they had half-hour sessions, and it went through the day.
Okay.
So, which I kind of like, because splitting it into different paths, you miss something. So I would like to be at every session. It means the sessions have to be shorter, but sometimes that's good.
did they have a
And
method
another
for
thing to
questions? Did they have a method for questions? Like if you're not in the Zoom meeting, then you can't really ask a question.
Yeah, no, you can. YouTube has a place you can ask questions.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
I was going to say on
Gotcha.
that, part of the staffing for the conference is chat monitors, because
Right.
now you've got Zoom, you've got YouTube, you've got Facebook, so you got multiple chats going on.
I see.
That's a good idea. Have sort of a moderator in each group in each session. What about social things? Obviously a big thing about Grassroots Radio Conference is just getting together and chatting and sharing ideas. Has anybody had any luck with any social type online events? No?
We haven't done it, but I've seen popular DJs who would normally host a party live in a loft in New York or whatever, do Zoom dance parties where there's a whole lot of people in Zoom. I also attended a Zoom wedding. So
Oh, wow.
possible.
Eh,
Attended a Zoom funeral.
Oh,
There you go.
Pretty awkward. Sharon, this is kind of you could call what we're doing somewhat of a social gathering.
right. Yeah, it's been great for me. And I like, just the way now that you're starting it off with the check-ins, that's a really good way just to kind of introduce everybody.
If I was in your shoes, one thing I might consider would be having a social hour sometime during the day, and maybe suggesting a topic so that people felt there would be a reason to show up. A topic that is more socially oriented than, the technical or administrative, or, something like, how are you keeping your team connected during the virus, or I don't know, something that's a little bit, or, what do you see the future of community radio, or, just some sort of more general topic that everybody can kind of come to talk about, and then not monitor it so it could kind of flow however.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I guess.
Yeah, no, that's a good idea because it's better than just saying like, oh, we're gonna have radio social time, you know. Which,
Yeah, people might be. Yeah. You know, another thing I've thought of, and I don't know if this would work for you or not, but you know, we do this show, Radio Social, here at KHOI weekly, just basically as a social, a way for people to stay connected that are at the station, and we do it on the air so that it, you know, so they get to be on the air. But what we've kind of fallen into is we're inviting people from all over the world to join us, so that people from, you know, different parts of the world are sharing what's happening to them, and it kind of, you know, gives it a little bit of a, I don't know, it's nice to get out there to different countries, out of this stupid country we're in. And you know, we've gone to South America, we've gone to China, last week we went to Europe. And I'm wondering, you know, if it might be possible, like during the social hours, saying, you know, like, come and hang out with our friends from England, Australia. I mean, there's community radio all over the world. Tibet, let's, you know, let's connect with the world and make that kind of a carrot. I found that people show up more to the Radio Social show when there is somebody kind of from an, you know, outside the United States, because people are hungry to just, you know, connect. So that's just another idea, is to maybe invite some radio stations from other parts of the world, and then have the social hour built around, come and meet some of our friends in, you know, Ireland or Nepal. There's a great group in Nepal.
that'd be amazing.
I don't know, it's just an idea. I mean, with Zoom, you can do that. It's,
Yeah.
you know.
I think that's the advantage of the virtual conference. You know, like Joseph's saying, a lot of stations don't have the budget, you know, to travel, especially now with COVID and everything. So this could really be a good time to draw in some stations that haven't participated before. And then hopefully when we're able to be in person, you know, we can do that, meet them in person together. But I think that's a great idea. Ursula, how do you contact these international folks that you have on radio?
I could figure it out. I mean, you know, Ammark used to be the easy way to do it, but Ammark collapsed. But the networks are still there. You know, Norm Stockwell, Elizabeth Robinson, the social networks are still there. And I think it would be, I could help you track them down. You know, I went to one of the conferences. I went to the Argentina conference, and it's just not, you know, like talking to community radio outside the United States, it's really something. It really knocked my socks off, because most of these people do not have the First Amendment. They don't have, you know, protected licenses, and this is life and death for them, and they just do it, you know, and it's like a real breath of fresh air. So it's really very inspiring to talk to these people.
Yeah, that'd be amazing. Are there?
So that's one suggestion.
I love that. That's really good. Does anybody else have any thoughts or ideas of stuff they'd like to either present or discuss or learn about?
I'll just second the notion that I've heard positive feedback on Twitter from those Zoom dance parties that DJs are doing that did during COVID. Yeah.
Well, you guys can do that, Sharon. You're Louisville. You can do that.
Sure. So how do they do it? I mean, they just have a DJ playing music and people tune in and they're dancing at home or whatever?
Yeah, there was one guy that did it for like 12 hours or something. I don't remember his name, but everyone was raving about it on Twitter. It was like a national deal. Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah. Great idea. Fun. Great. I'm trying to find the survey results, you guys. Let's see.
I don't think I got that, Sharon.
You didn't? Okay. I'm trying to find where it is. Stephanie, you sent it out in one of your emails. So I think I can find it out.
Well, Sharon, obviously COVID-19 is going to be a big topic at the conference, right?
Yeah.
Have you thought about how you want to do that?
No, I mean, really, like I said, this is the first conversation. So, and I would really like to say also that now that, this year there isn't a particular physical location for the conference, I'm hoping maybe this can be more of a collaborative effort, as opposed to just our station hosting it, which we are prepared to do. But I think, it might be great to just, make this more of a, collaborative effort between lots of stations that is online, all that kind of thing. We can do the bringing it together part, but if other stations have ideas for presentations, or events, things like that, we definitely would. And very glad to have the assistance with that. And I think that this, this has been a great, I think, I guess it's kind of, thinking about how is it all going to be organized. You want to have some time where people can just socially get to know each other. And then you want to have some, serious sessions, both about technology and law. And of course, we'll have the election coming up at that time. So there'll be a lot of serious issues. But then you also want to have some fun stuff. And I guess, the first looming question is it better to do this like in a 2 or 3 days, or over an extended weekend, or extend it out to a week or two, or even longer, have it be something that happens, every couple of weeks. I don't know. We're all very busy. So I guess it's wanting to hear from you guys about what would work best with your schedule.
I think you should plan it the way the GRC is, where you have a concentrated 2 days. Otherwise, it'll become too diffuse. I would say I would do that so that it still feels like the conference.
I agree. I'd be more inclined to attend everything if it's all in, I'll take a weekend and set aside. So.
Any other thought? Anybody else have any input on that?
And you could also, then you would also have it for later for us to review again. If depending upon the platform you're using, if they'll be like we have now on these meetings, the video to go see later.
Yes, Stephanie, what do you use to get it up on the once the sessions are done, recorded?
I'm sorry, say that again.
After the sessions are done, you post it on the Pacifica website. Do you just what software do you use?
I do it through YouTube is what I do.
Oh, okay.
On WordPress.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
You have to have in order to upload longer video, you kind of have to have an association with YouTube. So if you don't have it, I would check into maybe finding out how you can get kind of verified, so to speak.
Oh, right. You have to.
Otherwise, you're limited to about 15 minutes.
Yeah, like I have a sign-in that I use, like a login. That's what you mean, yeah.
No. When you go to upload, if you haven't been with them for a while, they'll limit the amount of time, generally to about 15 minutes for a video.
Oh. Like if you haven't uploaded something recently?
No, well, I've been on YouTube for about 12 years.
Yeah.
So after I can upload any link. But if you're new to them, they're gonna watch you for a while.
Oh. Okay.
Okay. So, I mean, we have one for our radio station, but it might be better to have one that's more of a GRC YouTube channel. Does anybody know if there is anything like that?
If there's what?
If there's like a YouTube channel for the GRC itself.
I would doubt it.
I know there's.
I don't think Rashida made one last year. You could ask her, but
Yeah,
I know they had their own webpage.
Yeah, there's been all kinds of, there's so many different GRC websites. I don't know.
I mean, if you're streaming it in real time, everyone could join it, right? Though if you also upload it later, it wouldn't matter as much if it took a little while to upload, because it would be the second time people were seeing it, right? So is that what we're talking about?
Does anybody else have any feedback on here's the survey. Okay, I finally made my way to the survey. But my recollection on the survey before I open it up again was that most people did kind of like more of an extended conference. Does anybody else here feel that way?
An extended what?
Of a more kind of extended conference. Just curious if there's any other feeling on that. Okay, I found the thing. Let me open it up. I'm just gonna log in. And did anyone not get the survey? Do we need to share the link? It's pretty basic. Okay, so the first question was, would you be interested in attending virtually due to the pandemic? And that was an overwhelming yes. There does seem to be a lot of interest. People attending.
Someone's got some background noises.
What kind of background noises?
Like a door opening and closing and.
Things moving around.
Okay, it's gone.
Yeah, that's better. Thank you. Then we asked, I think what kind of sessions would you be interested in attending online? Did we already answer this, or I'd love some more input on that. I mean, William, what you were talking about sounds amazing about reaching out to hospitals and local governments for funding. Obviously, we are great local voices.
Mm-hmm.
That would be something that I would like to learn about personally.
Well, we're working with our local health department. We bring them in every week. They're responsible for our local health, and all the local, if they were over the population of $500,000, they got Pacific Corona money, and they got Pacific money to do outreach. A lot of times they use the same platform, the big boys, but I'm purposeful to let them know that now we got market share. We got people that listen to us also, and we are a community-based station. And so with that consistent advocacy and partnering with, there's a couple other low power stations here. And so we kind of coordinate with them also to have a more powerful voice to make sure that we get some of those dollars. And so we basically collaborated, all three low power radio stations, and we're going after different sets of money that's already set aside, but a lot of times a lot of people don't voice it. We're making sure that we voice it, because the people that listen to our station are the ones that's most affected. So local government, also state government. The state got, I think our state got over $1 billion. And so our governor did a buy for Corona. They did 1 month, so I'm gonna call them back again. And I said, man, this Corona going longer than expected. We need some more money down here. We gotta make sure that we keep our citizens informed. And so right now, next week we've been talking to the Department of Human and Health Services. That's another department under the government. So now we're talking about to each department now within the government, because all of them got money to do outreach. Also, we reach out to the hospitals. We know they got money. They have to do outreach in regards to their testing. They have to let people notify that testing is going on, where it's going on, how long it's going on, what's the precautions when they come to testing, et cetera, et cetera. That has to be advocated. People just cannot show up at the hospital because it could spread. So there's a protocol that has to be, advocated before people can even go to the hospital or even some of these free clinics. So the way that we made the path less resistance, we've given the health department a voice on our network. So they come in every Friday. We give a voice to every hospital that we deal with. Charles Drew, they're a local hospital that service mainly North Omaha, which is one of the poorest areas. So we just negotiated a deal with them, so they're being a professional in, but also I'm negotiating where they can also control their own voice. I'm advocating that they put a show on our network, sponsor our show, and bring in health professionals, so people are informed not only from Corona, but also for some of these other disparities that are weakening our so-called immune system, because like the Corona affected people that have weakened immune systems. And so, of course, we want to talk about diabetes, we want to talk about cancers, and we want to talk about obesity. So we want to talk about some other variables that are affecting some of our citizenry. When it comes to the school, we've been bringing in school board members. So anytime we want to go the path less resistance, we bring those voices on and let them know how powerful this vehicle is, especially when you stroke their so-called ego, super ego, or ego. They feel how powerful this platform really is. And they said, well, dang, I didn't really think about it in that contrast. So I let them know that the only voice that needs to be controlled, that they need to control the voice. They need to control the narrative, and they need to, do it on our platform. Because we have that flexibility where the commercial stations do not have that flexibility.
Yeah, that's awesome. And who do you talk to? Do you call, you call up the governor and just say?
Well, the governor has what do you call them? Assistants. Yeah, they have assistants, and each one are responsible for a certain thing. But I will ask specifically, call the governor's office, and who's responsible for the Corona funding and the outreach to citizens, and let them know that you have a platform to get to the citizens and your demographics, and just stay on them. They have to spend the money. If they don't, then they have to send the money back. They don't want to send the money back.
I think you need to give this guy a workshop, Sharon.
I think, okay, we've got our first workshop.
I was thinking that too.
That's great.
But it's right, like different presentations on community engagement strategies.
Mm-hmm.
Really good.
So right now I'm focusing on getting all my analytics on all my digital platforms, all my analytics. I'm trying to get my website up to date and all that stuff, so I can get all those analytics, because the digital side is really important now, because us being a non-commercial station, we're not getting the ratings, the so-called, what do you call that thing that rates the listeners in the top 50 markets? We're a diary market. So to me, when you're a diary market, to me, the validity of the statistics, I think varies. We are getting we are getting some Nielsen ratings. We're going through Radio Research Radio Consortium, which kind of handles the non-commercial side of Nielsen. So I think we had, like, the last time we looked at was like 1.3 market share, even though we're only 25 watts. So
you're in Omaha, right?
Yes, we're in Omaha. And so so I just been trying to aggregate all our numbers. So when we go in front of these individuals, well, we got listeners here, we got to listen here, we got to listen here through our radio app, through TuneIn. And so we can show all these different platforms, which gives us strength as a single low power station. And so, of course, we use, when we bring people in, we archive it, we stream live video.
Oh, glitch.
That's the end of William.
Come back.
Frozen in place.
There you are.
Oh,
I thought I did my X-Man thing.
Yeah, that's well, that'd be awesome. I mean, that'd be a great presentation. You know, I guess
Yeah.
we could think about different topics: community outreach, fundraising. You know,
Right
Sharon,
now,
to me,
right now, it's time to survive. As radio station, it's time to survive. It's time to survive. Right now, especially companies are looking for ways to spend money in order to get to citizenry. Right now, I'm just trying to develop proposals on ways that we can present to these CEOs and to the Chamber of Commerce. The Chamber of Commerce have been a very big help also because you got little CEOs and they want to do something for the little guy. I'm letting them know that we're a little guy radio station, but we reach a large audience at the same time.
That's awesome.
so Sharon, to me, the elephants in our room for this GRC are COVID-19 and community engagement during COVID-19, fundraising during COVID-19, the Black Lives Matter movement, and the election, how to prepare for this really bizarro election that's going to happen. Those are like the big behemoths that keep me up at night with this radio station. Like, how do you handle all that,
Yeah, it's a lot. Crazy.
It's crazy. It's really crazy.
Ah. Oh, right.
we want to change,
Yeah.
And another thing that we're doing some remote broadcasting from home, but most of our broadcast is still in studio. We really haven't changed what we're doing. We just wear face masks. We require our guests wear face masks. So we try to normalize it as much as possible to create down to decrease the fear amongst people. We started a teen show. And so now this is like the 4th week. We're going to continue it through school, and we're going to spread it where we get maybe one representative from each high school, from the suburbs as well as the inner city, so young people can have a consistent voice. And so we're going to start doing that every Saturday. And so that way, we still increasing our market share. That's the ultimate goal. We're increasing our market share so we can leverage for larger dollars later when we come to advertising. The only way we gotta introduce new programming, and I don't know if any of you guys have a teen show, but I would advocate starting a teen show because that's so many voices, so many listeners that can push the envelope for us to go to the next level by giving them a voice. The other stations aren't doing it at all. They're not doing it at all. They won't do it. They don't care to do it. But since we're a community-based station, once we get we got like 20, I think about like 10 high schools, maybe about 12 high schools. We get representatives from all over, man. It's about almost 2,000 kids at each high school. Come on now. It's all mathematical. And so our goal now is to make sure that we give young people a voice. Young people have ideas. I was young. Weren't you guys young one day? I was young back in the day.
don't remember.
I'm 55, no jive. I'm 55 now, no jive. But I was young. I remember those days. And I wanted to talk with you, but the old folks wouldn't listen. So we're going to make sure that we give them an opportunity because there's thousands of them. And you know what? My degree is in behavioral science. Young people influence the buying decisions of older folks. When you go home, Mama, I need this. Daddy, I need this. Grandpapa, I want this. Grandmama, I want to go there. So they determine the buying decisions of us. And so we're going to make sure that they have a voice. And we can use that new audience to advocate to Kellogg's or Procter & Gamble, or whoever else that's trying to advocate or sell to young.
So Two things I want to say. One is, I think the other elephant in the room, Sharon, is the technology during COVID-19.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of, what we focused on here. The other thing is, I suggest that we give William a session soon here with this group.
Yeah.
So he can like get this all out and teach us something, and also practice, practice for his presentation for the GRC. But I think some of this stuff, like instead of spending the planning session right now, let's give William a session and hear him out, because I think there's a lot of information there.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think, Stephanie?
Would you be up for that, William? Oh, I see you're muted.
He's muted.
William, you're muted.
I'll say, oh yeah, I'm just a little shy. That's why I was muted. I was just a little shy, but no, I would be more and happy. I would consider it a blessing.
I think it'd be great.
One of the things that my mama taught me, she taught me if someone treated me good, treat them better because you might need it one day. When I went to the GRC, I learned so much. I met a wealth of great people that didn't look like me, but treated me like their own brothers.
You came to Ames, right? I think.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then we stayed in some room with a lot of people in it. It was like
the church.
Yeah.
It was the church.
Yeah. It was all collective. It was all love, and I appreciated that.
Yeah, those were the good old days when we could be together.
Yeah, that's a little miss.
The only thing I remember about my childhood, William, is that there was no coronavirus going on.
Right.
Nothing like that.
Well, that made me think of a couple things.
Can I get your email, William? Just while
Yes, William King Jr., J. Arthur Jr. at yahoo.com.
Okay.
I just wanted to double up on the technical that Ursula mentioned. That would be really helpful for us. It's been helpful so far, and also on like Megaseg or other automation stuff. Like we haven't figured out yet how to set it up where we automatically pull down podcasts. So, if there's any kind of experts, and if there's any experts, I don't know, Sharon or Ursula, if that either in Pacifica or maybe Prometheus or GRC, any on the FCC situation, a few different things, Plugola and Payola. Sometimes like some of the people that WBPU has brought into the station, they're accustomed to a thing that a lot of the AM stations do, where they'll sell you an hour, they'll sell you a half an hour, they'll sell you an hour. You pay, you get your time, and then you do whatever you want with that time. Well, you can't do that on non-commercial. I mean, it's not.
Actually, you can. You can do it. You just have to report it. I used to think that too, but I learned otherwise. You can sell airtime. There's just you have to go, there's a procedure where you have to report it.
So the people you sell, I really want to learn about that. And the people that you sell airtime to, do they still have to comply with the non-commercial rules in terms of no selling
of course.
stuff? Okay. So just that whole stuff, Plugola, Payola, selling time, that would be good to know about. And then also, is there anything coming down the pike in terms of, I keep hearing rumors that there may be some new windows open, if there's other people who want to get stations, as well as possibility of new opportunities to increase your wattage. So I don't know if it'd be possible to get anybody on who's really into that could bring us all up to date.
Well, there's a coalition of people called the Radio for People Coalition, who kind of we started the group when the 2007 filing window happened, and then it spilled over into the low power window, and they've just stayed together, and they are constantly in communication with the FCC, and so I think we should bring, and incidentally, they have a lot of lawyers there, and so I think we should invite some of them to, some of them. It's Michael Brown, Betty, Betty McCardle, these people, Clay Leander. These are not outsiders. I think Stephanie, we could organize a session where we ask the Radio for People folks to come on, and this is kind of what they talk about all the time. Mishi, Bradley, this is like what they are constantly geeking out on, is the ins and outs of the FCC. And so if you want, I can do that at one point. And, if everybody feels like that's something you want to go into.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you, Ursula. Good idea.
They're very curious about this group. They're always tracking. They're like, oh, what's good? They met yesterday and they're like, oh, what's going on with the GRC? So I said, well, we're going to talk about it tomorrow. And they were like, oh, we want to be there. And I sent them the link, but of course, everybody's busy, but they're aware of us, and I'm sure they would love to join us sometime.
Yeah, hopefully, we'll collect a crew. And in fact, anybody, let me know if you want to be on the planning committee, or if you want to be involved in planning this. And we can then do another Zoom call where we get into some more technical stuff. A bunch of our staff members are interested in helping too. This is great. I mean, I think we can kind of look at the GRC program from previous years and pull out some main topics, FCC, transmitter stuff, troubleshooting at your site, that kind of thing. And maybe even just reach out to some of the people who've done those presentations before and see if they'll be interested in doing them online.
Yeah, my experience with organizing the GRC is one of the most challenging parts is to get people to make commitments to do workshops in a timely manner. It's not that they won't do it, it's that they'll all say they want to do it in like 3 days before the conference.
Right.
So, there's kind of a momentum thing that happens. So, I would say right now, as soon as you can, start figuring out who you want to invite and how to hound them so that you get a commitment. Mm-hmm. That's just the hardest part, is those commitments.
Right, absolutely. Well, do you think it should be, in past years, there's been like an application for a call for proposals, have people submit proposals again, something of that nature?
I think it's a good place to start, see what you get.
Yeah.
And then you always end up inviting, you always end up kind of handpicking people too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then what about, normally there's a fee to attend the conference. Not that we want to make a lot of money off this or anything, but we would, if we set up a website or anything like that, want to be able to cover expenses. Do you think people would be willing, or stations would be willing or able to pay, probably not as much as previous years, but some sort of participation fee or suggested donation or something like that?
I think that's fair. GRC is always a moneymaker for the station that hosts it. Right. And I think you should be benefiting from that too. I mean, obviously you're not going to make as much, but you're also not going to spend as much.
Yeah, that wouldn't be the purpose at all, but just to want to make sure if we did need, money for something. Obviously our station isn't in a good financial position right now with everything going on. So
it always helps to have a buy-in.
Yeah.
People will commit, even if it's $50 or something like that. If they pay for it, they'll show up.
They committed to it. Yeah, right.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Would you mind saying how much the cost to go to the podcast thing, or what kind of range? I mean, what kind of range?
Yeah, no, they threw this one on for free because it was right when COVID started.
Right.
And so they put it together for free. So and I think he asked for donations too. So that may be something to do. I mean, their conferences are like $150 or $200, kind of like GRC.
Yeah.
So,
right.
But I'm sure my boss would let me throw $100 for the conference, even if I'm not going, something like that. I'm sure that everybody's station would want to put in something.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, you could do both. You could have the fee and then just throw up a donate button and see what happens. You never know.
Right. And I think you have to, because you're hosting it, you have to pay for Zoom. You can't use the free version. So you're going to have to pay monthly.
Yeah, we have that for our station. I think it would, I don't know the ins and outs of it, but hopefully that would cover us for the, I think we get like 100 people per session and unlimited time. So hopefully we could do that throughout the day. Oh yeah, we could do that. But that is definitely an expense, but we've taken that on. And then, you know, it also usually there's a few featured speakers at the GRC, sort of keynote speaker things. Would that be of interest again? I mean, we might be able to get some bigger names, seeing as they can do it from their home. Any thoughts on potential speakers or ideas for that? I mean, every year everyone says they want to get Amy Goodman to speak. So maybe she'd finally do it if she could do it remotely.
You could teleport.
Yeah, exactly. Any other people, you know, especially now with the Black Lives Matter thing? You know, I know.
Probably have some prominent people in Louisville right now.
Oh, that's true. That would be great.
You could have somebody like Laura Flanders or, you know, those.
Yeah, I think she was a keynote in New York a couple years ago.
Okay.
She was a keynote in Albany.
Right.
Okay.
She was
She
fun.
wore that outfit.
Yeah,
Oh
I'll never forget it.
The red plaid pantsuit.
With the black Western boots.
I still remember her shoes when she came to the caucus.
Look, bitches. I like the pantsuit.
It was
I'm
awesome.
wondering if somebody somebody like Chuck D. I mean, you know,
Yeah.
you know, because he does a great show in audio port, and he's really connected internationally. And I don't know.
A show in Audioport? What's it?
Yeah, it's a great show. It's really good. We air it here. It's called "And You Don't Stop."
Really?
Yeah,
often does it come out?
it's been what?
How often does he do it?
It's weekly.
Oh man.
It's a really, really good hip hop show.
Oh, that's awesome. I had no
Very
idea.
good.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very good.
Wow.
I love it. I really, really love it.
Huh. He's been a big advocate, you know, for my college station, WRVU, when that was going down. He came to a fundraiser, just showed up at a fundraiser and was really advocating for community radio, college radio.
Well, I just find that he's like taken a really, a really interesting approach to the virus and Black Lives. I mean, it's very forward thinking and kind of courageous and assertive, you know, and it's very energizing, and you know, and it's international. So I like Chuck D. I think he's a really deep thinker.
Does do you have any contact with him, Ursula?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. I can ask him if he would do it.
That'd be amazing.
Oh yeah, without a doubt, that would be amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll ask him.
Be out of the park.
You know, if he doesn't have to travel, he might do it.
Yeah.
I think he likes, I mean, he really identifies it as being part of Pacifica Network and likes to do it.
That'd be amazing. Wow, that'd really be something.
And he might be able to bring on some people from other parts of the world, which could be interesting.
Yeah.
Joseph, I'm curious, like the thing that I am not hearing a lot from native stations, what's happening, and it bothers me that I'm not hearing a lot. Is there anybody from the kind of the realm of the native stations that you feel would be somebody who could speak about what's happening?
Gotta unmute, Joseph.
Yeah, I was the one with the door noise behind me.
Oh,
Uh,
that beautiful tree.
Yes.
Study what they're putting up. Do I know somebody in native radio that would, like Peggy Berryhill? She's a good spokesperson.
Yeah.
She was around.
I don't know. It's, it's the kind of story you just hear. I hear passing references to, what's happening on reservations with the virus, but it's always very passing. And I haven't heard a lot coming out of the native stations. I mean, what are you hearing?
Well, I'm not hearing a whole lot from native. That has always been one of the things I have yet to resolve is how do you get native stations to talk with one another? And there's a network. there's Native public media, but they don't have this kind of a discussion.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, we just are very weak at that, and I don't understand that. And it seems like the United States kept us from talking with one another, and we continue to do that.
Became a habit, right?
Yeah, so we have to decolonize on that. We got to get back together again, and I've always wondered how. I tried to get NFCB to not schedule the Native affiliates time block with the Pacifica time, so we can get some more natives into Pacifica. But then when that opened up, then another Native organization jumped in and claimed that same time, and then there went the whole crowd again. So I'm thinking maybe I should work on getting some Native stations representatives to this Zoom.
Yeah.
At least open up that invitation.
That'd be great.
Get them to the GRC.
Yes, because then we get that whole discussion going. Because a lot of those Native stations have a very small budget, like we do, so we don't travel a whole lot. And so we always have to decide, well, where are we going to go? Where are we going to put our money?
Right.
So with this, wow, we can go to maybe all 3 or 4 of them.
Yeah.
And we could have more than one GRC a year then, if we're going to be doing it online. So that we have a succession of them over a year's time. Maybe have 2.
That's a good idea.
Yeah,
There's always something to talk about.
We have a Mixteco station here in Oxnard, and I know they've wanted to come to some of the conferences, and they can't afford it. So I know they would be interested in their, we have the, they're all farm workers, and they're all getting sick, and they have real big issues down here. So I know they have a strong voice. So I know they'd be happy to participate. So.
Well, that'd be great to have you all do some research, outreach, research too, and then outreach.
Yep. It goes hand in hand. Yeah, both.
Absolutely, and try to, both to this, to station managers to this call, but then really reaching out about the GRC, and maybe we could have sessions that are, designed to talk about certain issues that appeal to those, groups and stations, and bringing awareness to those stations. That'd be fantastic. But yeah, I think that'd be great if if you guys could reach out to those stations, and maybe we could. So that would be another question. It seems like there's going to be a lot of documents we'd want to share during a session like this, or during a conference like this. What do you guys think is the best method for sharing physical documents? Like we were talking about sharing.
This
policy.
is always the question. This is the big question. Every year, this is the big question. I mean, we're always willing to put them on our website, but I don't think we should. I mean, we will do it, but I don't think we're really the last. I think there might be another place that people would prefer.
I mean, I would say only if that's, if that's for members only. I know there's a number of stations that aren't Pacifica members that come.
No, our website's not for members only. Okay. It's public, but it's not. It's not a branded. It's branded differently.
Right.
People really would like something that's branded GRC, and I understand that.
I mean, it's Google Drive. Oh, Davine, go ahead.
Could GRC have a Dropbox that people could access the files and load files up and access it?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Something like that. I haven't had much good luck with Dropbox. I don't know why I've had trouble with it.
Well, I'm running the station with Dropbox right now for all of the audio files that people are doing, where they I send them an invitation, and they load their audio file into that, and then automatically it goes into their folder, and the station picks it up. So I think it's flexible. I just think it takes a little bit of attention to it. You know, it's not terribly intuitive, but it's and you know, and you could do something on the Google Drive, which I think Stephanie's already set up for our group here. So
Yeah, we do have
that.
And people can just upload to Google Drive and then download from Google Drive as long as the settings are set.
Yeah, and they have to have the permissions, but then they can upload or download.
That'd be great.
And that could kind of tie into whoever is registered to the conference. They could go have access to those files, audio files, video files, whatever.
So I knew that I could have people, I could give people a link and then they could download from the folder, but I didn't know if I gave people that same link, they could also upload. That's interesting.
Well, you have to give them permission.
Yeah.
You
Okay.
have to grant permission.
Okay.
And then there's Slack too, which I kind of like Slack, but it never really picked up with my station. I know some people use that.
Yeah, we use it.
You do?
I like Slack.
I do too.
I haven't used it outside the station.
Right. It's just kind of fun. It's more
Kept
fun.
losing all mine. Yeah. Pardon?
Yeah, it's just kind of, you know, it's kind of user friendly. Okay, well, I think maybe the first thing is to put out a call for proposals and see what we get, and then kind of see how, you know, we can fit. There's always going to be overlap, so some things might want to come together as like a roundtable discussion, and some things will just be standalones. And I guess we see how many, you know, proposals we get, and that will tell us, you know, how long we want to make the conference, maybe.
Or have two conferences.
Right. Yeah. Right. I mean, we're still very committed to having people here when we're finally able to gather together. That's the whole reason we wanted to host it. We wanted to have you all here and see our wonderful town and our fun radio station. So we hope that will, you know, be just right around the corner, but who knows? So in the meantime, this is a good way to connect everybody, I think. And so what about dates? Is there anything, now that we're all kind of homebound, is there anything we need to be aware of this fall? We were looking at October. Are there any big events in October we need to be aware of that we should avoid?
The only thing I know about is, well, for one thing, it's just a month away from the national election, so everybody's going to be kind of crazed. The other thing is just the same old story. Everybody in Humboldt County, KMUD, KZ, they're not available because it's harvest time. And I think even for them, 2 days is a lot, you know, and it always kind of breaks their heart these days that they can't be involved with GRC. At KMUD, you know, always really related a lot to being a GRC, but they can't do it. It's very hard for them in October. It's just.
They like the summer conferences.
They did, you know, once October hits, they're out in the field, they're working. So that's, I mean, I know it's kind of stupid, but it's a yearly drama that happens every year. They always say to me, "Can't it be some other time?" And I'm like, no, not really. So they haven't been around for quite a few years.
And I've heard from the college stations like TEDCO in Santa Barbara that it's hard for the colleges too, now that it's been moved to the fall. The past few years, because the colleges are all in session and they're not able to make it. And I do think that the college radio stations are a big part of GRC. They can get a lot out of it, and they're kind of, you know, they're all kind of sitting ducks. So I always like to bring them into the fold so they have a little wisdom to help guide them, because NPR is after those channels. But anyway,
how about moving it to the early spring?
I mean, that would be better. Personally, we've got so much going on right now. It would be better for us. At the same time, I hate to lose, you know, the connection with other stations, especially right before the election. Other thoughts on that? I'd love to hear thoughts. Ursula Devine just suggested, we were just talking about dates. She suggested potentially moving it to the spring. I don't know. I feel like there's a lot to discuss right now, but
I can understand the appeal of that. But I mean, the thing is, between now and spring, so much is going to happen to us that it kind of scares me. I kind of feel like it would be really great to do something before then, because I don't think we're even going to recognize ourselves by next spring. I don't know what's going to be going on.
I think we should stick with, was it October that was originally planned?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would go for September.
So.
we can't do it in September, maybe very late September. But we have our big fundraiser on September 17th. So for us, and we're probably going to need a minute of downtime. But if someone else wanted to pick it up and run it, if felt it needed to be in September, we could help our best, but we wouldn't be able to give it our all until October.
September, October. Okay.
I was just curious. It used to be in summer and then it was in October?
Yeah, it used to be in June or July or August, and then it got moved to October.
Yeah, I don't really know when that precedent was started, but the past, 5 years or so, it's been in October, when you say, Ursula.
Yeah, ours was in August, and Hot Springs was in August, and then it shifted.
When we do the live, conference, I wouldn't mind considering bringing it back to summer. Obviously, it's too late for that now.
Well, yeah, maybe that's the spring conference would be in Louisville.
We could totally do that, and it'd be fun. It'd be really fun to be the first opportunity for us all to get back together again. So
That'd be
hopefully
nice.
that'd be a reality that we could.
And the virtual one could be like a warm up for you.
That's kind of what I'm thinking, is that this isn't, I don't feel like this is going to be the full blown GRC conference, just because we've never done anything like this before. But just a way to be in communication with other stations, and some opportunity to share some ideas and thoughts about all this big stuff that's happening right now. It does seem very important.
GRC Light.
There you go.
Here we go. Yeah.
Okay, and what about, last question, I know it's gotten late, but what about entertainment? Is it fun to have like a live, we have some great musicians here that would probably do a, set. Is that fun, or is that kind of not so exciting, online music?
It's totally fun.
Yeah? Okay, all right.
We were supposed to have a gospel benefit concert last month, and we did the whole thing online. We had artists out of Georgia. We went from artist to artist. We did the whole thing online, and it was very successful.
Oh, that's fun.
And did they perform a couple of songs, 2 or 3? I've been to those kind of shows.
They
One
performed
song.
one, and some had better equipment at their homes than others. So some were good and some were audio quality sketchy, but still the dynamic of it, and being able to interact with them, and was still very good experience for people.
Yeah, that'd be fun to have. I agree. I think that would be fun to do.
Yeah, that'd be cool if we could get musicians from like different stations, or, if stations, choose local musicians to participate. That'd be really cool.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
All right. Okay.
I have another idea for a keynote speaker. It's just an idea just to throw out. For the I was down in Greenville, Mississippi for quite a while to help build a station down there. And I got to know really well this guy named Abe Hudson, who he went on to become a state senator in Mississippi. And he's kind of like this new generation of young Black people who are just like totally on the fast track of leaving segregation behind. And he was part of the team that got rid of the Confederate flag from Mississippi.
Awesome.
And it's just a really interesting story, you know, like what's happening down there with young people. It's like so different. You know, they're the internet generation. So I don't know. He might be maybe not your main keynote speaker, but it's a really interesting story. What happened down there?
That sounds amazing. Well, maybe if everybody could just kind of brainstorm a few things, like if you know someone that would be a great speaker, or if you could think of something that you would like to present on, or if you can think of stations that you know that you'd like to invite to this, you know, that all that would be very valuable to me.
So we send it to you?
Yeah, I guess send it to me, and in the meanwhile, I'll try to think of where we, you know, something online where we can share documents, which would be easier.
And then in one of these meetings here, in like maybe a few weeks, maybe you report back to us what has happened,
Yeah, that sounds great.
so we can talk it over again. Is
Yeah.
that okay, Stephanie? Stephanie's the boss here, not me. So
Oh,
Quick
yes.
question
that's
about
great.
the date. You want to firm up a date now?
For the conference itself?
Yeah.
Well, I need to talk with my team and make sure, you know, just kind of check a few things. But I could probably, you know, it would be great to get that on everyone's schedule. So maybe in another week or so we can have a date. But if anybody has any conflicts or dates that they prefer, you could email that to me.
Yeah.
We'll start focusing in.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Great. Thank you all very much for your input. I really appreciate that, because we're just gonna kind of wing it and see what happens. But I think just any getting together of stations is always valuable. I think that's, you know, it's so important. William was talking about how powerful we are, but we're all kind of out in our own little worlds. And these weekly meetings have really made me feel more connected to greater.
me too.
You know, and then that can be very powerful. You know, the things we've done and the actions we've taken together, and then of course sharing a lot of great information. So awesome! Thank you all very much. This has been very helpful to me.
Thank
good.
you.
Yeah.
We should be able to move forward quickly now. So
Does
time has
anyone
been
else?
so weird this year. It's like, oh my god. But it's already July.
Everything's weird.
I know.
Everything's weird. Oh my God.
Does anyone else have anything they want to add?
So William, you're gonna give a presentation next week. Is that the thing?
Well, we have Davine for sure.
Oh, Devine.
But
Yeah,
mine's
and
short.
then-
It's not going to take that long.
Okay.
I mean,
So we'll
well, we could double up. We could team up. You know.
There you go.
Okay.
Sounds good. We'll do it.
Yeah. Looking forward to it.
Okay.
I'm happy
Well,
I got
yes,
to finally join. So finally catch up. and
Yeah,
join.
it's good to have you.
I would say yesterday was halfway through this year from hell.
What?
Yesterday was halfway through this year from hell.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yesterday was July 15th.
That's the halfway point.
Halfway
Yeah.
in the year.
And it's all going to be fine in 2021, right?
Yeah.
New Year's Eve, like we're home.
New
for-
calendar.
No problems.
I remember at GRC in Albany, we had such high hopes for 2020.
I know, it was so exciting, right?
Yeah.
Vision 2020. We were very excited.
2020 sounds so
Oh, what the
cool.
hell?
Yeah.
Isn't that saying, like, if you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans, or isn't that how that goes?
Yes.
Well, it's great to see you all. Elizabeth, I'm so glad you joined. Good to see you again. All right.
Yeah,
Well,
thank you everybody. So it was a really nice meeting, and yeah, we'll plan for William and Davine for next time, and sounds good. Enjoy the
Okay.
rest of your day.
All right.
Okay, bye-bye.
Good to see
Bye.
you.
Take care.
You too.
Stephanie, do you need the recording, or did you record at your place?
She's muted.
She's muted. Yeah. I love your background, Joseph. It's just like I just want to be there. It's
Well, it's my
like,
backyard.
is that your
that's-
backyard? Oh,
Yeah,
I
well,
wanna
that's
come
the
and
tree.
visit.
Yeah, come on out.
Come and
Come
have
on.
iced tea
It's
in
been
your
a long
backyard.
time since you've been here.
I know, but I don't know if I'm allowed to come to California. We're not allowed to go anywhere here in Iowa.
Yeah.
Well,
We're the untouchables.
yeah, geez.
But you guys are on the list too, though. So we're all. But I don't know if I'm gonna come and visit you.
Okay. I'll put up some more shots of what's over here.
I love
Nice.
it. Yeah, I just love it. I love that tree.
I
What
do
Yeah,
too.
is that?
it's nice. It's a magnolia.
It's a
Oh,
what?
magnolia.
Oh. Hi, Ruth.
Hi, I wanted to see the tree.
Checking out his
Isn't that
tree.
nice?
Yeah.
It's
Wow.
That's his backyard.
Oh.
You know, California just has the plants.
They
You know,
do.
They
I
do.
really
They
miss
have
the bougainvillea vines. That's what was my favorite.
Bougainvillea vines. Yeah.
Yeah. They're so pretty.
Yeah.
But sometimes you were sitting in your yard, weren't you? For real, like you were in your yard? Or was it always a picture? of
No.
your-
There's
You're the
always a
station?
picture.
Yeah.
Oh, man, you.
I'm at the station. They got the wall behind me. Yeah.
Oh, wow. I didn't even know it wasn't real. That's cool.
So you've heard about
That's
this?
the chicken house right there.
The chicken
You got
house.
a chicken house?
That's that little building there.
That's an old. Yeah, that's an old chicken house. They don't use it anymore.
Oh,
Then there's a barn behind that.
you don't have chickens?
Oh, we got chickens, but they don't like to use that house because a ringtail got in there one time. And
Oh, bad memories.
they just terrorized them, and
There's
they
a
won't go
slaughter,
back in
yeah.
anymore.
Ooh,
Yeah.
what's a ringtail? Is that a snake?
It's a predator.
No, it's kind of like a weasel.
Oh.
Little sharp teeth like that, and they're long. And got a ring tail. Their tail's got rings on it. And
Oh. Ooh.
So how far back does it go?
it goes back another 300 feet. Yeah,
Wow.
it's on 2.5 acres.
It's beautiful. It's really beautiful. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
It's kind of nice in the picture because it kind of hazes out into this kind of golden glow at the back of your yard. It's really beautiful.
Yeah, it is nice.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. I sat here at the table and I kept snapping pictures and think, okay, I'm going to use this one. Yeah.
Yeah,
Nice.
very nice. Very nice. All right. Well, my background clearly is not I mean, you guys have all these beautiful environments. I'm like, here's my
That's
bag
really
and here's my shirt.
I like that color.
So
And
you've
it's
heard
your
about
shirt.
this, like, it's like is it a TikTok thing, Ruth, where they judge people's backgrounds?
Room
What's it called?
Raider.
Room Raider. Have you heard of Room Raider?
Oh, no.
Where people get rated on their backgrounds?
Oh, funny.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
We need flowers and art. Pineapple.
I need a pineapple.
You have floating flowers.
I guess it's kind of a big thing now, you know, like people are really judging each other harshly by their
It is nice to have a background when your actual room is messy.
Yeah, that's why I did this. You don't want to see my office.
I don't know.
Yours isn't that.
Stephanie, I don't know if yours would. I think you would get criticized for yours.
Yeah, it looks.
It's a little bit too game showy.
My what? Are you talking about my?
I don't think any of y'all are gonna show up on Room Raider.
Well, exactly, because it's not real.
Oh dear.
But yes, it is recording on my end. So
Okay.
to answer your question,
See The Office, Stephanie? That's your workplace.
Yeah.
Remember
Oh,
that?
Yes, I do.
Ruth is working. Ruth
It's
is
really
working.
happening in real time.
You got windows. I don't have windows in my office.
Yeah, we have beautiful. It's a beautiful room. It has There's one, two, it has 3 windows. Yeah, it's
Oh,
very nice.
nice.
And then it has a
Yeah.
door that goes out on the roof, so you can sit out on the roof, which is nice
Oh,
too.
jeez. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like how that room like floods with light.
Okay, so this is my desk. This is my desk.
Mhm.
And then there's a
Uh-huh.
window, and then there's Ruth working at her window. Say hi, Ruth. There's Ruth. And then there's the other window. That's the door. And then and now we go out on the roof. See,
Oh,
so that
yeah.
when I have phone calls, I can sit on the roof here, and I can sit on the outside office. It's very pleasant. Very pleasant.
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
and it's nice. It's pretty big. And then over here, there's the alley, and then there's the power plant. There's our power plant.
And the pizza place, you can go out and
the
smell the
pizza-
pizza if you want.
Yeah. Yeah. You didn't come to the GRC,
Oh.
Joseph, so you didn't see our station. But anyway, it's too bright.
Yeah, I
out
didn't
here.
make it there. No.
Anyway,
No.
yeah. So anyway, that's our rooftop office.
Woo woo.
I'll have to get a ladder to get on our roof.
It's the building is an old dry cleaners, and our office was the room for the tailor. He had his office, his workshop up here. So anyway, that's the tour. I'm just buying time to keep you on.
All right, thank you.
Just like keeping you on.
Well,
Okay,
cool.
all right.
Good to
Well, I'm
see you.
glad that you.
Next
Thanks
time
for
I'll give you a
submitting
tour
that
of our
show
place.
too for Sprouts for November, Joseph. I'll look forward to that.
Well, okay, yeah, I have to get working on that because I told the producer I was going to be doing this. And so I better act now if I want to get it in on November. Yeah.
Excellent.
Okay. Bye-bye, everybody. So Stephanie, do you need the recording here or not?
All right
We
then.
got it.
Bye-bye,
See you
Joseph.
later.
You got it? Okay.
Yep, we're good.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye bye. Good night.